Hey, so I thought it would be really useful for me to sort of break down how I use my LinkedIn analytics and my email analytics to track my content, my posts, my emails, so I can then basically reuse them and show you what my flow looks like a little bit to help you understand how I spin up the content. So to start with, what I'll just do very quickly is come up with a document so we can jam in here, but just for you to see, in my world, there's lots of different things that I'm going to collect from my calendar, let's say, from my client calls, from my Fathom notes. The easiest thing for me is as soon as I get off a call, I write one-liners in my Google Keep to track exactly what is happening, right? So as soon as I get those one-liners, I've pretty much got my show content, right? Because I'm just going to demonstrate and I'll show you how I do that. And then I look back at the analytics and I want to repurpose 2 or 3 posts a week because those are the bangers that perform generally really well. So that means I don't have to get stuck on the content hamster wheel. So over here, if you just see, I'm quite messy, but this is how my brain works. Essentially, I've got these one-liners over here. You can see, and I just label what happened during the week. So you can see here, I'm pretty much just going, on the 1st of December, my relative thought I was a drug dealer. He didn't know what I did for a living, or I tested some ads, or I like the person I'm becoming. Reflections from this year because it's December, or I saw some lentils, AirPods, mega rants, wacky shizzle going viral on LinkedIn, instead of the normal carousels or things. I'm like, why are people talking about AirPods and going viral? I had a one-on-one client make 150K during Black Friday and another one make 20K. Then on the 10th of December, you'll see it's the same pattern. I went to the dentist. It was really rainy and they numbed the poopies out of me. I helped my client Maggie launch an email campaign. I helped Lachey create a mid-ticket offer to ascend her workshop participants. Our loan got approved for the house. So you can see here, this is a little bit of who I am, not so much what I do. So that's the sharing side of the deal. I'm also picking life events. So this is a life event. This is a life event. So that's me sharing things. Somebody crashed into our car and everything's okay. That's another life event. Then Tickle My Brain, the new featured section in my LinkedIn. And then me talking about collecting content, not creating it, which is exactly the point, let's say, of this video right now. So you can see that with these one-liners, I can basically just get them and paste them in the doc here. So this is me going December 10th, and these are my one-liners, right? And I'll do that in my little notes here. You can see I've got many others over here, and I just flick through them, but I like to name them and have a starting point. So that's one side of it. The other thing I will do is I will go to my LinkedIn, for example, because that's my primary platform. Depending on where you are, I can look at Instagram as well, or YouTube, or it doesn't matter. But I will go to my impressions here, probably go back 90 days and go, okay, instead of me having to think over the last 90 days, these are my top performing posts. So I'll just flick through them and see, does anything resonate that I can repurpose? These are little jokes that I'm making. Here's the drug dealer one that I talked about. And I'm going, okay, brilliant. So for example here, this one is talking about 5 different funnels that made me 7 figures. I already remember what that is. So number one, I can either click on this and go, I'm going to take this carousel and turn it into text. Or as I'm looking at this, I'm going, okay, I grew my LinkedIn, I got this outcome, I did whatever. Now, let me show you the Power Hour funnel. Brilliant. So I'm going to take, let's say, this concept of the Power Hour funnel, come back to my list and go, Power Hour funnel, the $125 funnel with Ascension. And I already know what that is for repurposing. I know that's going to be good because it got, it was in my top performers. Something else I might do is literally the video you're seeing today actually was a LinkedIn post, and I might turn this video into a YouTube video as well. So I'm basically explaining these one-liners, right? And this one did really well. So I'm going, okay, if people are asking me, how do you collect content? What's your process behind it? This one did really well. So I might take this and go, well, actually, this is a post in itself. I might make a shorter version of that. So I'll show you exactly here what I mean in a second, but I'm just going to put it in here for the moment, just to show you in real time how my brain works in this case. So I'm just looking, I'm looking. Let's say, I'll give you another example here. Since we're on the topic of collecting content, you can see that jives really well with my target audience. So I'm literally going to copy paste this post as it is, and I'm going to show you how easy the repurposing is. So now, if I look at these, right, I'm going to pick this one over here, my power writing hook. And I always think of this show type of content of me. How can I best demonstrate what I'm good at? So the incident that happened, what happened, why did it happen, how did it happen, and can I have a CTA? So if I'm describing this, I might say, remembering from the carousel I just showed you, for example, I made 350K last year with one simple funnel that was $125 a session, right? That's the incident. Now, what happened inside of that incident? I'm going to go, since 2023, I've had a pinned post on my LinkedIn featured section. It wasn't a pinned post, it was I've had a LinkedIn featured section, CTA to tickle my brain. Basically, a power hour. Someone jumps on for $125 and we have a session. So this is what is happening, right? People told me I was nuts because it was too cheap. What they didn't realize is that this was the funnel itself. People came through, we did a game plan where I showed them the exact steps of what they had to do and then offer them to work together to implement the game plan. So that's exactly what is happening. Why did I do that? So everyone was selling high ticket. So I thought the most aligned thing with me is when someone hops on a consulting call. So I zagged when people zigged. I offered a low ticket consulting call and thought of it as a funnel. Out of that, I think more than 300 people have booked once off, and approximately 33% have ascended into either my group or my one-to-one mentorship. So this is my why. This is the reason I'm doing it. Now, I want to show someone a little bit of value and share the how I'm doing it, right? So I'm going to say, oops, where are we here? How I'm doing it. So if you're looking to do low ticket consults, get your featured section whipped up, get a Calendly link at $50 to $250, offer a game plan call, offer them one-to-one ascension later. And then call to action could be, if you need some help putting this together, DM me game plan and let's chat. So that's my CTA. So this, for example, is me taking an existing post and just creating it. You'll probably see these online because I've done it to demonstrate, right? So these are my show posts. The other thing I might do is I went to the dentist and it was really raining. So this one's really easy, right? It's like a post where I can go, photo of my icky face after the dentist in the rain. Just went to the dentist. It's worse than taking a sales call. And that's the post, right? Like me going like this or something, and then sort of a little bit of my philosophy, the anti-sales call. But that's exactly what it is, right? I can also then take, let's say, this one that I wanted to show you. So during the week, this was when people asked me, how do I actually get ideas? So that was already a longer form post that we took earlier, right? All I'm going to do is just paste it in here. It was already part of that old post, and go, I've been asked 10 times this week. So that's not a good hook. People ask me how I ideate my posts at least 3 times a week. It gets to be this simple. And then literally copy paste. I save the one-liners, as I've demonstrated now, flick through my calendar, find 3 or 4 life, not business events, check my analytics, as we just did, start writing, right? It doesn't need to be complicated. Data shows you exactly what works. And I can maybe screenshot my one-liners here again and just showcase something like that, right? And then another post is, remember, we just saw the stop creating, start collecting. So I'm literally going to grab this. It's 2 weeks ago. So I'm like, nobody remembers what happened 2 weeks ago, let alone what they ate yesterday. So in this case, I'm looking at this going, brilliant. Let's see here. Stop creating content. Here's how I collect content. So I'm just literally going to go, I hate seeing people talking about creating content 24/7. We've got a life to live. So instead, I prefer to collect it. Right? And then, fun fact, it also gets you clients. This is how I do it. And then there you go. Use my calendar, write the process. You can grab my GPT buddy, give your perspective, maybe change the ending to, it gets to be as simple as you let it be. Collect, don't create. You know, and instead of this PS thing, if you wear Crocs, unfollow me. Something like that. So now we've literally got a post here, right? By repurposing, we've literally changed the hook and the ending of this one. We've grabbed a few ideas with the power funnel and the dentist post that was a one-liner. So this sort of shows you how I get ideas. And that's basically sort of what I do. Now, inside of my emails, for example, I also think thematically. So I'm going, what do I want to sell this week for starters? So before I even start that, I'm going, am I selling low ticket or high ticket? And there's 4 weeks in a month. So usually the first week and the last week, I'm going to do something high ticket or group coaching. And in the middle, I'm going to sell a digital product or workshop. So low ticket and high ticket. The first question I ask is, what is it that I am going to sell, right? So let me just write this down for you to see that. And I'm going, what am I selling? So in this case for this week now, What I am selling is low ticket. We're in the middle of the month, right? Towards the end. So I'm selling my Iggy the offer maker GPT, and it's $9, and I'm happy with that and whatever, right? So the way that I write emails is very similar to what we just went through, right? I'm going to show by demonstrating, and sometimes it's these one-liners, and I'm looking at the same ones, or I'm going to tell a story. Now, instead of using the same thing, because email is a little more intimate, I like to think of it in story, lesson, pivot, offer terms. So the story is the one-liner from above. What's a very quick story? What's a lesson from it, basically, that I can draw? How can I pivot and then make the offer? So I'm just going to put this here for my own sake, thrivecart.com. This is the offer, right, that I'm going to use, and I will basically look into my emails and go, for example, the same thing. So this is very meta, but we had our list here. I'm like, pick a one-liner, or instead of looking at the analytics on LinkedIn, I'm just going to scroll through old emails. But through time, I'm also looking at this and going, I know which parts have generated interest. So in my world, over time, I've been told that my audience responds to my agency story. Why? I folded it because I was anxious, misaligned, all of that. Buying my family a house and freeing them from debt. That was another big story that I usually bring on. My cats, dogs, everybody loves the fact that I've got 6 of them, right? And then my own family basically being a newbie dad is resonating a lot. So that just came through people responding to me, right? And I know I'm just showing you my buddy Jesse here, for example, that just came to mind is like, whenever I talk about like my dad, for example, the reason I came back to Cyprus because he was ill and I wanted to be close to him, right? I get these responses. And I spoke to about my dad as well very recently, and then people sort of reached out, and that's something that's genuinely been on my mind because I've recently been a father. So that's just to sort of show you where you can go. But the same way I'm looking at these emails, you can sort of see open rates and things like that. I like to look at sales, right? So in my world, I'll sort of go back down and keep a little log of my emails. So I've got this little Excel spreadsheet, and it always is campaign driven. I'm like, what were the campaigns? Were they workshops usually? Were they one-on-ones? And I have all the subject lines and things, and I'll be like, oh, okay. But at the core, it's showing stuff from business and sharing things from life. And I can just look at these. Sometimes I literally copy paste them. Like this is March 2024, right? I can reuse them the same way I copy paste content, or just borrow thematic ideas. But the core of it is, what am I selling? And then I'm going to story, lesson, pivot, offer. So if I show you one as an example, I'm going to say, awesome. Let's use this one. It's a very, very easy story for me to tell. So the story is literally yesterday, our loan got approved for our new house, right? So that has a theme, that has a place, that has an incident that happened. We've been on the lookout for a new place since we had our baby daughter. And I can share that part of my life. I decided to go down the loan route so I can have liquidity, since my wife and I are starting a property portfolio, right? So instead of me putting it all down, that's all I need to do. That's the story, literally 3 lines. The lesson that comes from me buying a house, that just as I'm writing this, is I didn't have to rush this, even though it was exciting, right? So I'm just literally demonstrating the lesson. I've made many rushed decisions in the past in my journey, but this was so wholesome, we had to take it slow. Now, I'm thinking, I know what I'm selling, right? I'm going to sell this offer blueprint. It's Iggy, the offer maker, who makes the GPT, the offers for people without the sales call. So I'm going to try to pivot it, right? Like, I wouldn't be able to get here today without making offers. Many people shy away from making offers and sales because they think it's icky or they don't have clarity on what to sell. That's so for example, in the past, it took me hours to spin up an offer. Nowadays, I've created Iggy. You see how I'm pivoting? I've just literally said, I didn't have to rush this. And I wouldn't be here because without making offers, which is the thing I'm about to sell. So nowadays I've created Iggy that literally makes your offer for you in 5 minutes or less. If you want to give it a go, here's the link, and then I'll go up in my workspace and I'll literally paste that, and there's the offer now. We've put into the offer. It costs less than a coffee. And that's the email. So that is sort of the same structure. The only difference is I'm going story, lesson, pivot, offer, because people on email are much closer to you. And I would do the same thing, right? I would look in here. I might go, okay, I've now over time built a content bank. And I might even, if I go offer, I've talked about offers a lot, right? So I might look at that and go, okay, deadly offer mistake. That probably or may have something to do with offers that I can use, right? So I can take the concept of that. This is me going, okay, people don't sell because it's too broad, because there's too much teaching. So I might grab that, right, and go, brilliant. This has pretty much done the work for me, right? And this was, where are we? February 2024, almost a year ago. So I might look at this and go, okay, 9 mistakes people make when they make offers. Something like that. Paste it over here. And then at the end, pivot, make the offer, right? So I want to also tell a story here. So it dawned on me after looking into my school community how many people are making offers every day. And I might put a screenshot here of an image showing some people making offers. 9 things they get wrong are 9 things usually people get wrong are blah, 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 blah. And that's why I created Iggy, the offer doc maker, right? And then I'm going to link it here. Blah, blah, blah. So you sort of get the gist of where I'm going with this, right? But I've literally built the bank. The other thing I might do, before I had all of this, I might have gone to my primary platform and gone, again, let's say I've just started writing emails. I'll go, okay, let me have a read here. Let's just pick one at random, right? Start of the year was full speed. I onboarded 40 to 50 clients. So I'm basically reflecting on all the things that I did in the year and me having the baby and so on and so forth. So this is the message, right? Take time to slow down, test things, follow your intuition. So I might grab that and then give myself that starting point to story, lesson, pivot, offer, right? And start writing again. So looking back on my year, it was all about slowing down, testing things, and following your intuition. Let me tell you a quick story about that, and so on and so forth. So hopefully this gives you a little indication of where you can go and how to think about your content. But collect, don't create is the theme, right? Everything is already around you, is already in your calendar and your day-to-day life. We're just sort of looking at that intersection of sharing who you are and showing what you do. Which again, this is a little bit meta of me bringing this up, but this is the video that I put together this week, which shows who you are and what you do, which kind of just puts it in a little more visual for you to think about. So going back to that, I'll also attach this down below so you can keep it, but hopefully it give you a little bit of insight on that and answers the question of what do you use and how do you track your content, posts, or emails. So there's people who track them more rigorously, but I'm much more of a creator at heart where I'll look at it in its fluidity, because I believe there's a lot of momentum in recency, right? And I much prefer to write about more recent events. So yeah, I hope that was useful.